Welcome, collectors of all ages. This is Mike with Jayhawker Vintage Cards, and in today's episode, we will be taking a peek at these cards here. 16 cards submittal that I made to SGC. Only the second time I've ever submitted cards, so I'm kind of excited because I had pretty good results from my first submittal. My first submittal, I have a video on that, second video I've ever posted on my channel. And that was a 28 card submittal. I took advantage of the special SGC was running for 70s and 80s cards for 12 bucks a card. And I thought, why not? I've been waiting and researching and kind of being nervous about submitting cards, but I finally did it. And just a quick recap, because again, there is a video that you can watch, but it was a 28 card submittal. I did do pre-grades. I didn't do a video. I didn't do a video for these, but I have for subsequent submittals. But of those 28 cards in that first submittal, 9 of them came back spot on, exactly what I had predicted the grades to be. 7 of them came back worse, and I think none of them came back by less than 1 grade, and some of them just came back 0.5. And then 12 of the cards came back with a better grade than I predicted. Now, that could have been because I was a little bit harsh looking at my own cards and not thinking they were going to be that good. That's very possible. But I didn't grade those any different than I did these. So we'll see what I came back with. I'm also very curious to see how many 0.5 grades I got, because it was almost laughable how many 0.5 grades I got back from SGC during my first submittal. Of those 28 cards that I submitted, 10 of the 28 came back with a 0.5 grade, which was about 36%. So this is a 16 card submittal. Again, these are all 70s. I think the first submittal, I only had 1 card from the 80s, which was an 81 Topps Slurry Bird, his second year card. So these, I believe, are all 70s. I've not looked at the grades online. I know you can do that, but I want to be surprised and share that with you. So with that being said, let's flip that camera around and see what these get. Hey, let's see what we got grading wise. I'm curious to see if I got another batch of 0.5 grades from SGC. I was pretty happy with the first submittal. What I'm going to do is show you the back of the card, tell you what I did for the pre-grade, what I predicted to be, and then we will see what SGC gave me. All right, first card, 70 Topps. Reggie Jackson, I predicted this one to be a 6. And well, it looks pretty blurry there. Looks like they gave me a 6. That's a pretty card. Next card is another 70s Topps Reggie Jackson. You can see this one's faded compared to that one. This one I predicted to get a 5. And that is what they gave me. They gave me a 5. Another nice card. So, doing all right so far. All right, next card, 70s Topps Tom Seaver. You can see that one's off-center a little bit on the back, but color's nice. This one I predicted to be a 6. And, okay, 6.5. So I'm doing all right again. Got a little bit better grade than I predicted. Nice. Next card, 70s Topps Hank Aaron. I predicted this one to be a 5. And that's exactly what they gave me. So looks like, let me write this one down here. 3, we got, I've got the first 4 cards. 3 are spot on, exactly what I thought they would be. And 1, they actually gave me a 0.5 grade better than I thought. So rocking and rolling. All right, this one I'm very curious about. I think this is a beautiful card. Color's really nice on this one here. Topps 70s, 1970. Ernie Banks, I predicted this one to be an 8. And, okay, boy, I'm really having some trouble here with the focus. That one, they gave me a 7, but it's still a really beautiful card. Really nice card. Hoping for an 8, but hey, 7's not bad. But I probably jinxed myself. Okay, this one I'm curious about. So I submitted 2 Thurman Munson 71 Topps in that first submittal. I think I got 5.5. I honestly don't remember. This one is a little bit rougher shape. I'm predicting a 4. And Okay, that's exactly what they gave me. So, 71s are tough, really tough. Next card is, write that down, 71, Topps Tom Seaver. Predicted a 7 on this one. So this one, I think, is pretty darn sharp, and the front, I think, is pretty sharp. So probably optimistic to get a 7 for 71, but that's what I'm predicting. 6. So you can see that one's pretty darn nice. But I'll take a 6. That's still pretty good for 71. Okay, this next card. So this one is an interesting story. This is a 71 Topps Willie Mays. Now, I already had this card, this specific card, this exact card in an SGC. Well, it was a 3. And unfortunately, somebody dropped it. And when he looked for it, he stepped on it and really cracked the whole top of it. So I don't want to say his name, but it rhymes with bike. And so anyway, yeah, it was me. I went ahead and just used my pliers, propped it up with a screwdriver, and resubmitted this. This one was a 3, so I am predicting SGC is going to grade it as a 3 again. Oh, you got to be kidding me. 4.5. Wow. I thought 3 was going to be what they would give me, and I thought it graded about as a 3, but a 4.5. See, that's the thing. That's why you can tell. I mean, this is a perfect example of how subjective, even though they have grading standards and you can read, what constitutes a 4 versus a 3 versus a 5, there's still subjectivity into it. And I mean, I'm happy that's a 4.5, but really, SGC? I'll take it. I'm happy. It's better than a 2, but that's a grade and a half better. So interesting. Next card, 72 Topps Willie Mays. This one I had as a 4. And 6. Wow. So I'm just thinking whoever graded these cards is a huge fan of the Say Hey Kid, because that's 2 in a row. This one's better than last time. This is 2 grades better than I predicted. The other one was a grade and a half. And then this one's, seriously, this exact card was an SGC holder as a 3. And that's, wow. Anyway, I'm telling you, I'm tickled. I'm feeling pretty good. These cards aren't as high a grade so far as some of the cards, I think, from the previous submittal, because I think those cards are overall just a little bit better shape. But I do have some nice ones. That Banks was really nice. All right, another 72. 72s have grown on me over the years. I used to not like them, but I'm starting to like them more. They just kind of scream 1970s. This is 72 Topps Hank Aaron. I predicted this one to be a 6. And all right, they gave me a 6. So, you can't go wrong with, Hammer and Hank in the same Say Hey Kid as the 6s. That's pretty nice. Next card, one of my least favorite sets of the 70s, the 73 Topps. This is Roberto Clemente. This is his last card. 73s are just notorious for the back, with the black just chipping along the edge. And the fronts, the images a lot of times aren't very clear. They're off cut, and the paper just seems to be different. For some reason, the paper of the 73 as a card stock just seems to be a little bit different, and just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of 73s. Oh, this one, what did I say? 5. 5.5. Okay. It's just the corners and stuff on 73s are so hard to find, nice and sharp. But that's a pretty centered card for a 73 Topps. All right, next card. I know I had a nicer version of this one in my first submittal. Nolan Ryan, my all-time favorite player. I can't remember what I got on that first submittal, but this one, a little rougher. I predicted a 4. And got a 4. You can see this is this is a perfect example of a 73 tops Nolan Ryan, because you almost always see them offcut this way, where you got a narrow one over here and wide. So the first card I submitted, the first 73, the last submittal, much more centered. So still a 4, about exactly what I expected. All right. This is a 74 tops. If you haven't heard the story about this particular card, please watch my first video, because this card has a significant meaning to me personally. This is one of the cards that spurred me to make Nolan Ryan my guy. And from early on, we're talking 1982. This is one of the reasons why. This is not the actual card. I did not submit that one. This is another 74 Ryan that I had. This one I am predicting to get a 6. It's off center bad on the back, but the front's nice and it's really sharp on the corners. So I'm hoping for a 6. All right. I've mentioned it before in my first videos. This is an example of what I call a badass card, because look at that. That he looks badass, right? I mean, that's pretty damn awesome. All right. Next card. So the first submittal, I had 4 George Brett's rookie cards from 1975 tops that I sent off. 2 I predicted to be 5s. They both ended up being 5s. The next one I predicted to be a 6. It was a 6.5. The next card I predicted to be a 7. And let's see, that one was a 6. So I accidentally just flipped and saw this one. So this card I predicted to be a 5. The 75 tops George Brett. I already saw it when I picked it up. So, and it's a 6. And I don't get it, because I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. But again, this just shows you how subjective grading is. So I predicted this one to be a 5. And I thought this one was worse than the 5s from my first submittal. And I got a 5 on my first submittal. But SGC gave me a 6 on this one. So I'm really curious to see what the next one's going to be. So here's another 75 tops, the George Brett rookie, that I predicted to be a 5. Let's see if they gave me a 6 on this one. They gave me a 5. You know, I was really curious about this, so I did get the 4 Bretts that I submitted in my first submittal. So I'm just going to throw these out here and see what you guys think. So these are the 2 that I submitted the second round. I shouldn't say second round, for my second submittal. I predicted both of these to be a 5. Obviously, you see one was a 5, one was a 6. Here are the other 2 that I submitted with my first submittal that I predicted to be a 5, and they came back 5. But for some reason, and now that I'm looking at it, see, this is why you put cards side by side. Now that I'm looking at these, you know, I'll just kind of slide it down the road here. Obviously, so this card was the first submittal. I think it's overall sharper, but you can see the color's off a little bit. This 5 was from my second submittal. This 6 I thought would be a 5. It's from my second submittal. And this one here is a 5 for my second submittal. So all of these I had predicted to be 5s. And they all got 5s, except this one was a 6. And that's perfectly fine with me. Looking at these all side by side, you can see the colors of these look better. So maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure. Okay, last card for this submittal, the 16 card submittal. Write some of these down here real quick. Okay. All right, this is a 76 tops George Brett, which I've never had good luck. There's finding one that doesn't have a lot of flaws in it. In terms of raw. So this one I predicted to be, oh, this is on one last other page. This one I predicted to be a 6. Okay, and I got a 6. This card, I always have trouble finding it centered. A lot of times you'll get a lot of snow on these 76 cards. I got really lucky in that first submittal. I had some really nice cards. I think I had a 8 Johnny Bench, a 8.5 Johnny Bench, and I think I had like a 7 Mike Schmidt, and did I have an 8.5? I might have had an 8.5 Schmidt, which those shocked the hell out of me, and I was beyond happy. Anyway, I did want to show you one more card just for fun. So I had mentioned that the 71, let me find it here again, the 71 Thurman Munson is known. It's one of my all-time favorite cards, probably one of the most popular cards of all time because of the action shot. You can see Munson, that's just a great play at the plate. But one of my favorite all-time players, a guy I have been champion for the Hall of Fame since I was probably, well, I know from 16 years old, was a player by the name of Veda Pinson. And Veda Pinson has a 71 Topps card that also has a great action shot. You can see there's a play at the plate. And if you look closely, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's Thurman Munson. I've never heard anybody talk about that. Now, I'm sure you who are much more involved with the hobby than I've been over the years have probably noticed that. And so you've probably heard people talking about it. I have not. But if that's the case, think about it. That's badass. I mean, look at that. 2 awesome cards. I swear that looks like Thurman Munson. Please make a comment, leave a comment, whether it is or isn't, or whether you think it is or isn't. But that's pretty damn cool, in my opinion. I like stuff like that. So anyway, Veda Pinson, I'm going to do a video on him. I actually did research for a book for Veda back in the early 2000s that I never got around to writing. Maybe I will someday. And just very interesting. There's so many things about his career that didn't go right. He was definitely overshadowed. What hurts him now is that he didn't get a lot of walks, and that hurts him with the analytics of today. But when I show you where he rates, or where he rated at the time of his retirement, not only amongst center fielders in WAR, but just all time. And when I show you what he did for a 9-year period between 1959 and I believe 67 is what I did, just a 9-year period versus all the other players, I think you'll be shocked how good he was. And he had, first 8 years of his career were great. Last 8, he was basically just a guy. But you can say that by a lot of Hall of Famers. Anyway, hope you enjoyed these cards. I want to look at something here. I have to write a couple of these down real quick. But that first submittal was a 28 card submittal. I'll just leave a couple of these up here. It was a 28 card submittal. Of those 28 cards, 7 of them came back from SGC with a worse grade than I thought they were going to be. 9 came back spot on exactly what I predicted. And 12 came back better. So, 21 of the 28 cards in my first submittal came back exactly what I thought or better. So I'll take that. And this one, let me add this up real quick and look at it. Only 16. So this is a 16 card submittal. Only 2 of these cards in this submittal came back worse than what I thought they were going to be. 8 came back as exactly what I thought they were going to be, and 6 came back better. So 14 out of the 16 cards in this submittal came back as I thought they would be or better. So I'll take that. And then another thing I noticed, which is interesting, is my first submittal to SGC had 10 of the 28 cards with a 0.5 grade. And then this one, I only had 3. So the first one, 10 and 36, that's, or 10 out of 28 is 36% roughly. And then 3 out of 16 is about 20%. So, I'm just kind of looking through some of these real quick. Not a lot of, God, that's a badass card, isn't it? How would you like to be facing that one? It's up a bat. Guy throwing 100 miles an hour and wild as hell. But that's my guy.